And we're live. And I had to throw out the TV. The TV's gone. Didn't work anymore. Bad cable or something. But Matt is here. Matt, thanks for coming all the way to Japan. I appreciate this.
I love what you've done with the place.
Yeah, it's still like a weird star pattern behind us. But yes, it's above and beyond. I can't believe. I guess, the ticket prices have gotten a little more reasonable. So maybe we can make this a weekly thing. Yes. So excellent. Yeah, Chris had a work thing. Unfortunately, she gets the schedule the night before, so these always come up suddenly. Unfortunately, Matt, thank you so much for being available.
Hey, no problem. The alternative was not exciting.
Right. Yes, you'd rather be here than anywhere else. Well, leaving the country is an option,
If I show up on your doorstep after November.
Yeah, I'm just afraid we don't have enough space for all my relatives and everybody that's going to try to flee. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, sorry, Miguel, no TV.
Yes. No TV. It is finished. It gave its last gasp there. The old picture, the old tube. That's funny. Those are hard to find now. I mean, people are hunting down like the old Sony, those TV monitors that have the really nice like professional bandwidth for video. The ones that are kind of like they're kind of in a box, like kind of a cage. You can pick them up with like handles on the side, and you can stack them. Like usually when they made those video walls and stuff, like in the 90s, it was those TVs.
Like a Peter Gabriel video.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're hotly sought after because they're the last of the best CRTs being made or that were made.
Have we told you the Will CRT story?
Oh no.
So when flat screens were getting popular, for whatever reason, I guess the refresh rate, it just screwed up his eyes.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so periodically he would always have to go out and hunt down a new CRT.
Oh, no.
And it got pretty ludicrous what ends he went to get a CRT.
That's funny. Yeah, I do think the early stuff was kind of painful. I had a laptop that would just give me these blazing headaches if I tried to read off of it. Like if I would spend time, focusing too much. So I think it was probably, bad refresh rate or something. So yeah, no video card. But that's funny. Yeah, and there's all those like home video game systems that use the light guns, so you can play Time Cop or whatever. Those are all useless on flat panels because they can't make it bright enough. There's not enough contrast. So all those things are totally useless. The light guns of the Nintendo age. Wow. So any game stuff during the week? Did you guys have any have a session of anything?
Supposed to run Black Sword Hack, and one of our members couldn't make it. And it's that particular game that we run midweek is just me and 3 players. So if somebody can't make it, we don't play.
Oh, I see.
And so we board gamed. I got my ass kicked at this game called Arc Nova. But today I've been reading the Conan Quickstart rules.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and they're not just tacking it on the Savage Worlds. That's kind of nice.
It was good to see, yeah. Yeah, it sounds, it's 4 stats, and yeah, I like what I've read so far. I haven't gotten all the way through, but it looks promising. I think there's, Yeah,
it has the Quickstart's super vague. Like, it's more vague than that Alkin Adventure Quickstart, I think. Like, I'm really hoping there's a lot more to character options and stuff in the full rules. It's got to be, but where was I going with this? Oh, they have this flex die. Did you see that? You did because you made a joke.
Yeah, right.
So that is very similar to in Black Sword Hack. What they have is called a Doom die, and the main difference is you choose when to use a Doom die, but in this, it looks like you're always rolling the flex die. But it's kind of cool. It's like kind of having sort of a meta thing without like a full on meta currency, but
Right.
they have the stamina attribute, which is kind of like a meta currency. It looks like.
Yeah. Right. Right. You
It's
can.
like willpower in a Forbidden Lands or something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah. We should definitely try that quick start. I'm curious how that plays and if it feels, if it has the feel, kind of what you want for a Conan. Yeah, very Conan based. Yeah, because I don't think 2D20 quite did it. It was such an early iteration too, but it didn't quite have the flavor down. I think they got closer with John Carter because that was just pure pulp. But yeah, well, yeah, I can't wait to give that a shot. Yeah, so more Dune tomorrow. Some big things happening. So if you're following, you'll enjoy some. No, nothing. Yeah, not just an ordinary day on the water moon. Yes, but should be fun. Yeah, we haven't. Chris and I are still trying to get our Forbidden Psalm. I've got kind of a half painted gang, and we're trying to get our Forbidden Psalm gangs together and run through a campaign of that. But
How many models are in those war bands?
5. Yeah,
Okay.
5, but you can add, I think you can add a pet. That doesn't count. There's a couple of ways to cheat it. Kind of like, with Frostgrave, like some things like demons and zombies and stuff didn't count to your final, your total model count. But this is much tinier. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how everything goes. I could just get Chris to take off the blue tack and put the glue on the minis. It will be all set. A fear of commitment, I think, is what it's called. But we'll have some of that soon, and that'll be fun if we come up with some characters or some survivors that we get attached to. That might be fun to roll them over to an RPG, campaign.
That would be cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing that. Oh yeah, and speaking of which, I unboxed the Zone Wars for Mutant Year Zero, and they have the conversion. Like they let you convert kind of both ways the characters from the RPG, TTRPG into Zone Wars, and then vice versa. So yeah, they're thinking that same kind of way, that it might be fun to take a character you're attached to and then play with them in a skirmish, in a mini skirmish game. But I like, and for any fans of Road to Eden, the Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden PC game, the named characters are kind of the personalities and characters of that game are the miniatures for Zone Wars. So if you ever wanted a miniature of Dux or the Boorman, the pig-headed guy, they're all there. So I was surprised. That's a good, but they didn't promote that. I think. They
should have.
Yeah, because I think that would have brought some of the PC game fans in, because that PC game is great. It's very XCOM, it's turn-based, very fun. And people that like the story from that could have definitely gotten talked into that miniatures game. Good stuff. All right. Well, at this turning point in our nation's history, let's ignore all that and get on with some tabletop topics. So yeah, good to see everybody in the chat. Orcus and Miguel, nice. And this Matt guy, I don't know, he's just hanging on. He's lurking, I think.
It's free.
That's right. Yes, you're no longer constrained by any 80s. Consumer electronics and Calerion too. Thanks. Yeah, first in Calerion. Very cool. Oh yeah, and thanks. Yeah, and the Dune review. So I was worried. We did a really long one of our weeks off for the Dune campaign. Matt, Will, and I did just a chapter by chapter, bit by bit kind of discussion of the core book of the RPG, and I need to, cut that down and, give it some visuals and stuff to make it more accessible, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So I figured I'd get it out. So I posted it on Patreon, but it's on the free side. It's on the outside of Patreon. So all of our free Patreon members got notified. And then I posted just the informational link on YouTube as well. So if you're interested in kind of what we thought of the system or what we're currently thinking of the system, and some of our early decision making. I think it might be a fun listen. And if you got 4 hours to kill, I think that's, if you got a long trip, long drive.
It's a good car listen. I listen to it driving.
Okay. Oh, good. Going to visit some relatives. Yeah, it's perfect. Yes. So that's posted as well. So yeah, let's do this for this week. All right. Sorry. Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt. So Chris couldn't be with us today, but Matt is here, and not in a television if you're watching. So pretty fascinating how this technology works. So this week on the weekly, Modiphius acquires Strato Minis Studio, the Crit Awards at Gen Con, and all that stuff. Caverns of Thracia on Backer Kit, and Rascal News. So tabletop news, kind of an independent news source. So let's start with, an interesting acquisition. Modiphius is getting involved. I think maybe Chris Birch just like has things that he likes. And he says, we've got the money, we've got the ability to support this, reprint it, re-release it, or just distribute it. And because that's what they did early on with Free League. They were a distributor for Free League, which was very confusing early days. But now they have acquired Strato Minis Studio, which is a Polish miniatures company. So their intention for doing this, so the studio itself is a resin miniatures manufacturer, and they also make their own games. So their games are Hardwar, so kind of hardware without an E, Retrobots, and Stratoyager. But maybe a mistranslation. So they have games and their own lines of miniatures. So the deal is similar to what Steamforged is doing with Privateer Press, I think, is just kind of taking over control and development of the game and miniatures line. So they're assuming control and future development of these lines of miniatures and games. They're going to do a relaunch of Hardwar, which is a 6mm scale miniatures game with a kind of sci-fi mech armor and aerial combat. So that's kind of cool to have both of those in the same game. It seems like a lot of times those get separated. Like if you're going to do mechs, you're not going to have flyers, but it's all there. And maybe tanks as well if they're talking armor. So they quote from Chris Birch, "Their team did an amazing job constructing a complex world of awesome-looking mechs, tanks, and flyers, battling it out over a future Earth. So we're going to build on that world and bring it to a bigger audience." So the Hardwar line is going to be released in waves, and they're going to do a reprint of the core rulebook as well as a quickstart PDF that you can play for free if you just want to try the game out and just kind of proxy the miniatures. But yeah, that's good to see. They've gotten involved, like the 5 parsecs from 5 parsecs games, and there's many things that they've kind of picked up. What is it? Death in Space? Yeah, there's a lot of things that Modiphius has kind of pushed and promoted that maybe wouldn't have seen such a wide audience, would have been kind of, stuck in a much more, niche indie kind of boutique, online stores and things. So what do you think about Modiphius picking up yet another property?
I'm wondering, is this a flex? Are they... Because they already always seem to want to put out a skirmish game with a new role-playing game.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're way more into miniatures now than most role-playing companies would be. And I wonder if, what's next? They're going to buy Mantic and just go for it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. They do seem to, they've, with all of their licensed properties and things, they get the rights to do miniatures, and they have, sculptors do ranges of miniatures. And it doesn't seem like they're doing particularly well with those, because recently they've moved a lot of it into just STLs. So maybe it's a good add-on or a good, kind of tier or a stretch goal for crowdfunding campaign. So maybe they got addicted to having those in the crowdfunders, and that's such added value, and people are like, wow, miniatures, okay, now I'm definitely going to support it. So maybe that's where that came from. But it seems like in recent days, if you look on their store, they're not selling as many physical miniatures as they are STLs for like previous campaigns and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it feels like always having miniatures available for a role-playing game is probably a smart move. And it feels like a less annoying version of what Fantasy Flight used to always do, and they would always have all these proprietary things for their role-playing games.
Right. Yeah, that's
this
true.
is at least practical. It's like, oh, well, they're miniatures for the game. That kind of makes sense. It's practical, and so it could be a new revenue stream for them, or a boost to the already existing revenue stream, but it's not required in any way. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and they have gotten into a lot of miniatures games. So they have Elder Scrolls and Fallout, and there's so many IPs that they're doing games for, that they're producing plastic for. Oh yeah, so speaking of which, they also announced a special set of the Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniatures of the characters, of course, for the Amazon Prime show. Of course. Oh, God, yeah. Yes, you have to have those. But so that was another announcement. So more minis on the way, and they do seem to be all over the retailers. Like anybody that does board game, online retailing, they have the Modiphius games there. So they are getting stuff out. It just it seems like, especially with Fallout, it's a little confusing because they've released a few different versions of their games. Like they have like a themed, like smaller skirmish gang style one, and then they have a survivor out in the wasteland, kind of. So there's a couple of like different games that they've released, and I don't know if they're compatible with each other, or if you can use the miniatures in both. But it seems like there's a little bit of branding, especially with their Fallout games, that's making it a little bit confusing. Like, where do you start?
Yeah, and aren't they using some? Isn't Elder Scrolls a larger scale?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's interesting decisions, but maybe they're just they're kind of enabling people that had these projects going on, and they just ended up being the producers, kind of the distributors and developers of it. But so we'll see what else Modiphius is up to. I'm curious to see what Hardwar looks like, because a 6mm that could be fun. 6mm like Future War scale game could be really fun, depending on how they flavored it, like how the if it's really old school and clunky, chunky looking, that might be really interesting, because we don't have anything. Everyone's trying to go for something sleeker, or just kind of rip off Warhammer type stuff. So it would be good to see something looking a little clumsy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because now Mantic has that, right? So yeah, hopefully they'll try to set themselves apart somehow.
Yeah, the Mantic stuff is pretty big because it's 12. Yeah, I think they went with 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically a third scale, and they were calling their miniatures for Firefight and their other games 36. So they said it's like a third scale, like a 1-to-3 kind of reduction. And because they were using their Mantic, I was following the developer blog when they were doing the Epic War Path stuff, and they were just saying they played around with a lot of different scales, and it seemed like such a perfect, like a sweet spot between like detail. You get nice detail, they're paintable, they're not like grains of rice, sitting vertically on a base, and it was just like this nice happy medium, but it doesn't match any already established scales for the kind of smaller miniature games. They're doing their own thing. All right. Well, there's no transition for this. We're just going to rush straight into it blindly. But Gen Con, hey, all right, Gen Con. What's going on there? Well, we're getting a physical ceremony that is being pulled. So the Crit Awards, it was just announced that they are citing safety concerns for an awards ceremony, and this all, of course, started online. But it seems like this is like that end of that second Matrix movie or whatever, where all of a sudden they're like, oh, and now things are that were virtual, that were only on social media. Now they're in the real world to terrify you. So now there's a lot of outrage on social media. But if it is like a community, like a gaming community, if it's a tabletop community, that's who's going to show up at Gen Con. So it's actually going to be those people in person. But this article was claiming, right-wing outrage campaign over the. So I'm not quite. That didn't seem quite to match what the events of what was happening. But anyhow, so Gen Con was citing safety concerns, and so the Crit Awards provided a statement to Rascal News, who is a new tabletop news source that we'll talk about. And this statement read by email. Thank you to the community for their outpouring of support. We will never be able to fully articulate or express what it has meant to us in the midst of a very difficult situation. We implore everyone to not attack each other for the hard decisions that we have been considering and making. As we do not condone violence or harassment, once again, we want to thank everyone who has shown us kindness and support, both publicly and privately. So I think... Yes, so this all started. So the Crit Awards are the Creator Recognition in Tabletop, TTRPGs, and they were set to hold their second annual. So if they're canceling their second annual celebration, this is not good news. So that was going to happen in August. And Ivy, the Crit Awards organizer, had stated on Twitter that the in-person ceremony would be unable to return to Gen Con. And immediately following that, like very shortly, Omega Jones, known online as Critical Bard, who was set to host the award ceremony, put out a statement that says that Gen Con has forced the Crit Awards to withdraw because of their stance and postings about being anti-Zionist. So there we go. So the they unlocked that in the tabletop community. And I don't know why he goes by Critical Bard, because Omega Jones is like the coolest name ever. But anyhow, so and Rascal News, the source of the story where I read it, did disclaim that yes, they were nominated for an award. So they're not they're full disclosure, they're not on anyone's side, but they would have gotten an award and would have attended. But
Nathan from AARPG was nominated too.
Oh, excellent!
The show was nominated, I should say.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So, yes. So this all started. So the statement from Jones comes in this kind of wave of social media backlash, and this all comes from when they first released the list of finalists that were nominated by public submission, and then an opaque committee-led shortlisting process happened. There was a social media outcry and a call for safety after they identified a performer from an actual play by the production studio Waffles Maple Syrup. These names are ridiculous when we're talking about the topics we're talking about. And they're a performer from that group that was in the center of an online discussion because of their stance on their support of Zionism. And so the studio was insisting that the heads their insistence that anti-Zionism equated to anti-Semitism, which has become this very difficult topic lately. And then Rascal News went on to kind of explain, if you don't understand what Zionism is, which I'm not going to explain, you can go look that up yourself. I'm not going to wade into that minefield, but so the studio Waffles Maple Syrup was publicly ostracized from the online TTRPG and AP community and has not been active on Twitter since May 9th. So everyone kind of in the ecosystem has been surprised that this cast member was on the final ballot, so they were expressing their unhappiness with it, and then Gen Con just decided to cancel the award ceremony if there was going to be protesting and kind of disruption because of these choices. Yeah, it's difficult. So for anyone that was a small child and was watching on television the Middle East, kind of the situation in the Middle East and how it was never how there was never seemed to be a solution. Now we finally truly understand. I think the discourse in America finally understands what that situation is and how difficult it is to unravel, because there's just a lot of people that what they were their political views and who they thought they were allied with suddenly has changed, and this has become very difficult, I think, from a lot of perspectives. And I think a lot of companies are finding themselves, this is a whole new situation to kind of sort out, and I don't think anybody can have a very good stance. I don't think from either position it's very easy to come at this too hard, especially if it's going to mean attacking people, throwing stuff at people. If it's not just nonviolent protests, if it's going to go beyond stopping people. So we'll see. But this is just going to be ongoing, and unfortunately it's made its way into tabletop. But it seems like Rascal News will be a good source for kind of what's going on and how things have shaken out. They had a real straightforward kind of play-by-play of the events that led to this cancellation. So what do you think?
It's I on the outer issue, the actual real political issue, not this thing that's come into our gaming sphere.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own opinions,
mm-hmm.
but man, what matters for right now is why it's like, why don't shit where you eat. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, why did we even go here with the political part of it?
Yeah.
So, maybe the Crit Awards little mission statement thing should have been more, I don't know what, delicate. I don't know what to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So Gen Con's reaction made it, in my opinion, 10 times worse.
Yeah, right.
So it was like there was a fire, and then these guys came over and they threw gasoline on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to the internet, and the internet makes everything a billion times worse. And so, it's just so... I have my own opinions, but I try not to let them out too much, in the gaming sphere. Sometimes I do. And we would all be better off if we have tried to avoid that in the gaming sphere. I mean, I think that is why we've had many discussions about all the D&D, a lot of the D&D controversies, just because it's the politics kind of washing into the gaming, right?
Mm-hmm,
and it's just regret is what I'm feeling. I'm just like, I really wish they had just not said anything, know. But
yeah, so is there anything outside of this article? Did they so the Crit Awards kind of stood by this? It was just nominated. Was it a winner? It was somebody that was going to receive an award physically, so they wouldn't just change that, just send them the award and say, you don't need to appear because this may be may cause a disturbance, and that's what Crit is saying. Thank you to the community, but then Gen Con just said, okay, no, we're just going to cancel this whole thing because we don't want to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I feel like now that it's out there and everyone's freaking out about it, I almost feel like Crit Awards should say more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had that one person make that statement, but not the actual Crit Awards people. Like, they made a general statement. They didn't explain anything.
Right.
That just, to me, that just leads to people making up their own answers to these questions. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's difficult with the if you're talking about community, it's not quite it's a very fractured community, I would say tabletop is, because there's a lot of antagonistic parts of it, and so you can't say the community as a whole rejected this person, because I'm sure it's not the whole community. So what we need to do is provide with this blacklist that everyone can refer to, like who are the baddies. It's a little difficult in that sense to and maybe for these organizers too, because this is money and man hours that go into this to determine what's how they're going to do this, and then just have it pulled at the last minute just because, oh, okay, well, we stepped into something that we weren't. You can't be watching. You can't be watching every possible fire. On social media. And it sounds like this was from a bit ago. I don't know. I don't know anything about waffles, maple syrup, so I have no idea. And well, I guess it couldn't have been that long ago. It has to be within months because this issue has only kind of come to the forefront recently.
This is the perfect example of why we should try not to get politics injected into gaming, because we have people like Waffles and Omega Jones and Love Ya Orcus Dorcas. Like, could you imagine them? Because there are now big news outlets who are carrying the story, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
They're at this, and here's a quote from Waffles McGee or whatever.
Right. Like, yeah, no, that's true. The it's a bunch of funny screen names. Yeah, and so it's still it reveals my age, but I still laugh when people like, "Hi, I'm Radar 2041." It's like, oh, okay, that's your name. Yeah. That's what you're gonna call yourself. YouTubers that like go by these weird handles they've used forever. Well, that's how people know me. But I think that's why this stuff exists, and that's why online can be a little treacherous, because people don't want to reveal too much, to make themselves too identifiable, to have too many identifying details, because this you never know when things are gonna turn on you, and you're gonna someone's gonna be putting you you're gonna be in somebody's sights. That's very very strange. But also too, if it's not something, that's the thing I'm a little bit surprised, especially for this issue. If it's not something you're personally have a personal experience of, but just are choosing the side that matches your peer group or fan base or whatever, I don't think that's particularly useful. I don't know. It's difficult. But yeah, so we'll see.
No nuance. There's no nuance.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, definitely, and it's like that's why the death of satire and even humor online, because people can choose to read your words literally and say, I don't think that's a joke, so that makes you this, or that makes you just stated an opinion trying to be funny. You just stated a abhorrent opinion that I no longer, that disqualifies you from whatever. So it's very very tricky. But I think this has been this recent situation has been kind of a big wake up call for the U.S. as far as its foreign policy and what they've been supporting. And I think a lot of people are aware of things that they really weren't aware of before. So
a lot of people are still figuring it out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, and it's without going too far into it. Yeah, I think a lot of people's just assumed, whose side they're on or whatever is, they've been changed a little bit. But it's good. It's good that, there's this kind of discourse. We just don't need the violence, that can follow when people want to, make some kind of statement at an event, like an award show for tabletop. That's no good. But let's move on to something to be happy about, I think. Yeah. I don't know. It's a kind of a choice. It's kind of a Sophie's choice that I don't think I can make. Recently, that's been the case with a lot of these Goodman Games releases. So, Caverns of Thracia, Legendary Adventure, is getting a release on backer kit. So they're doing the that kind of reborn treatment that they've given to a lot of the classic D&D modules. With Caverns of Thracia, and they're doing a 5e and a DCC version, and these are two separate books now, whereas I think previously it's a little confusing because when Goodman Games didn't have their own system. There was no Dungeon Crawl Classics. Goodman Games was just supporting 5e. Things would only be released like that. And now they have their own system. They have to kind of split things a little bit. And I don't know. I don't know what I would want. I don't want to play it for 5e, but I like the presentation. I like how they put together a lot of their 5e books, and the 5e book is using the original artwork, which I would, which I'd really like to see. So, what is Caverns of Thracia? A mega dungeon that supports a full year campaign. So, this is the legendary adventure that you may know, created by Janelle Jacques, a renowned designer of tabletop, and this is kind of the Goodman Games treatment there. And so what they often do is reproduce the original text, the original book completely. So you have everything that existed in the original, which is nice. That's at least what they did with the D&D stuff. I'm not sure what permissions they have for this. But they reproduce the pages of the original book, and then they do their conversion either to 5e or DCC. But the other thing that I really liked about how these books are presented is there's also a lot of what this adventure means to me, like my history in gaming. The people that work on this project, they get to insert, there's like little photos of them sitting at a gaming table, or just like context of their history of it. And that's very like endearing. It really makes you at least convinces you, hopefully it's completely authentic, that they're invested in the hobby, and that this means something to them, and they want to be part of bringing this setting to a larger group of people. But this has had great success. So their original goal was $10,000. They're already up to $350,000 with 2,700 backers, and still a good majority of the month left to go. So the kind of text from the backer kit page: the end of one empire sees the birth of a new one within Earth. Born in a forgotten chambers and the caverns of age-lost Thracia, rises a formidable foe, the Minotaur King, along with a host of dog brothers, gnolls, lizardmen, and others. Some say that even death itself lingers in the caverns of Thracia, ready to claim any who stumble upon its unholy chapel. The secrets of Thracia are manifold, its treasures thrice that. Do you have the mettle to survive the caverns of Thracia? So, yeah, nice. So, mega dungeon. So, yeah, take your characters from 1 to 10 in the 5e version and 1 to 5 in the DCC version. So, 6 vast dungeon levels, more than 250 encounters, 125 new monsters, more than 40 new magic items, spells, and curses. And if you aren't happy with either cover, there was new art produced for the DCC cover. But if you're not happy with either the classic or the new and improved, there is a limited edition foil Minotaur-Hide version just for you. So that is a thing. So yes, reincarnated. That's right. So original adventures reincarnated. They reproduced for a while there. They some of their promotional art was a little confusing about the color of the book or the artwork that was going to be on the book. But now it's been, kind of set in stone on the backer kit page that it's going to be the blue bordered book with the Jacques art. And the 5th edition DCC is San Julian was commissioned to do a really nice piece of art, very brutal and kind of evocative, but very new, like very digital on the new edition. So yes, and you can also get the there's a limited edition which is printed with debossed foil on a leatherette texture cover, specifically designed to resemble a thick mammalian fur, just like a minotaur. That sounds good. And of course, there's a PDF version as well, so you can get everything, on PDF as well. And then they're also taking this opportunity to reprint Dungeon Crawl Classics 109, which is a Beneath the Isle of the Serpents, which is a new level 2 adventure. Not reprint. A new level 2 adventure, which is set on the starry archipelago of Thracia. And then for the 5th edition, they're doing the Sacrificial Pyre of Thracia, which is a new level 1 prequel to the Caverns of Thracia. So they're doing 2 separate little adventures to kind of get you started in that setting. And also, Monsters and Magic of Thracia will add new items and more items and enemies. So, and that book will be dual statted for both 5e and ECC. But there's more. But wait, there's more. Also, they're going to print the Hell Pits of Nightfang. So Janelle Jacquez's iconic vampire adventure. So that will also be available in a special crowdfunding OAR edition. I'm not sure what OAR stands for, but the cover will be featuring the original art by Jacquez as well, and that will also be so OAR is I don't know, original. I'm not sure, but yes, and so that will have a DCC and a regular FEF, fifth edition fantasy. That's I think what they called it, and of course dice. You got to do the dice because they have the funky dice, and so the funky dice will include 3 new versions, just in case the furry book wasn't enough. Thracian Smoky Sacrifice, the Terracotta Greek Vase, and the Thracian Azure Swirl. So dice with translucence and foil effects and all kinds of crazy stuff to evoke the setting even more. And then, here's the reprints. And so the reprints, they're going to take this chance to also make available a compendium of Dungeon Crawl Classics Volumes 3 and 4 for 5e, and then Tomes of Adventure 5, 6, and 7, which is more than 200 pages of DCC adventures. All right. And then, that's nice. And in the update, they were saying, wow, thank you so much. We're really happy with, how successful this campaign is gone just in the first few days. And they quoted a really nice review. So if you don't have any experience of Caverns of Thracia, I think this is a really good way to kind of put it in context. So a reviewer of this setting said, "This exists in the stratospheric heights that are approachable by few and matched only by Gygax in his prime. Worth playing and replaying, and can be picked over endlessly without ever being fully known." So a big adventure, big setting. So, and they also recently in this update, they also said that they added a Just the Books pledge for all levels. So if you just want the physical books, you don't need any PDFs, you don't want any extra stuff. They did books only to get you what you want. So what do you think, Matt? Can you choose between DCC and 5e? Don't you just want something that you could play with, a perhaps Black Sword hack or something a little more...
Well, that's a nice... I mean, it would not be hard at all to take DCC, stats and things and just approximate it to Black Sword hack. It's super easy, actually. I don't understand. Well, I do. I take that back. It's 5th edition. It's always going to be a business decision. Okay, here's the thing. Goodman's Games, they do some great curator stuff, right? They do some wonderful, very respectful stuff of this old school material. Like Orcus said in the chat, it's a lot better than, the introduction to a certain 50th anniversary, but much more respectful. But they're to me, they're like the dad who, on the sly lets you get away with something when mom's not looking, like they do their DCC stuff and they're very respectful of this old material, but they're still going to send out this 5th edition crap. And I don't know. I kind of wish they would. Oh boy, I showed my true colors calling it crap. Sorry.
Oops.
Why not use, because correct me if I'm wrong, but the original OGL is still essentially a thing you can use for basic D&D mechanics, right? Like basic old school D&D stuff. So why not make something? Why not make a version? If you're going to go to the trouble to make multiple versions, why not make one that feels just like you're playing Beck-Me or original D&D,
right?
Because that one truly would be super easy to then port over to anything. Knave, Black Sword hack, what's the old school essentials, like anything like that,
right?
But anyway, it's cool. I'm actually thinking about backing the book. I noticed that That's $36 for the PDF alone.
Yeah, yeah.
That's I'm feeling that exorbitant.
Yeah, I don't think PDFs. Yeah, they haven't increased in the production of PDFs hasn't become any more difficult in the last 10 years. I don't think, but
because what you're saying there allegedly is that the cost of printing, because the print book is what, $55, $54,
right?
And you get the PDF.
Yeah, right.
So you're kind of saying that the printing is not a very big cost for you, but that's the reverse of what I've heard.
Yeah, I think that
for a million years,
right.
So I feel like they're kind of like, oh, you only want the PDF? All right, you got to pay more, sucker. You know?
Yeah, and I think with crowdfunding too, it seems like companies more recently have been hesitant to have anything that's too cheap. Like they want to overprice the PDF to make it like, oh, it's only $15 more to get the book. They're like pricing it that way because they want overall bigger totals. They want bigger final numbers for crowdfunding is what it feels like. And DCC or Goodman Games in general has not been great with international shipping. So I think you may regret it if you pledge this internationally. It may be worth waiting for an online retailer it's a little bit friendlier with their shipping costs if you're outside of the US or Canada. Just my guess, because I've had some bad experiences already where I've had to just kind of do a 2-stage of mailing because the shipping estimate they gave me is like, excuse me. So we'll see how that goes. But there's a lot of fun extra stuff with this, and I like that they did that when they did the Dying Earth and like all of the things that they do, the settings that they do. There's a lot of support for it with new artwork and new dice colors and all that good stuff. But
hey, any excuse to buy a new set of weird ass Zaki dice?
Yes, you're all in. But here's another thing to frustrate you too. But because you may only be buying the 5e version, not the DCC version, they took the set and broke it up, so you can buy just the 7 die set for 5e, or you can buy the whole funky set. Yeah, isn't that bad? Weak. Yeah.
Weak as water, man. That's a perfect example. The Goodman Games is the dad saying one thing to the kids and another thing to the wife.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if they just can't pull themselves away, because that was how originally they started making their money supporting 5e, so they just can't quite go all out on their own and say, no, DCC, that's what you play if you want to go to Goodman Games. I don't know. Yeah, but there's definitely a financial reason, and maybe they're just worried about losing. They've established a customer base, and they're just worried they're going to lose a lot of it if they stopped with the 5e. But with this reincarnated series, if they're going to do the same thing, they do reprint, because these are quite meaty tomes, and they do reproduce like the original maps and everything, and so the original text of these books, of these adventures, is usually in there as well, so that would make it easier to adapt as well if you're not having to untangle 5e. If you have the original D&D rules, then that could help a lot. But how did we get all of this? The last thing that I wanted to mention, and a new source for us to kind of gather information, has become Rascal News. So what the heck is Rascal News? So I guess in just the last few months, I think about 5 months they've been doing this so far. Some of the writers that we've already discussed, some of their writing, like Lynn Kodega, Rowan Zioli, and Chase Carter, that I think are from Polygon. I think most of them are Polygon contributors, have gone out on their own, and they've created a website called Rascal News, and they're currently doing a pledge drive. And why would they be doing that? Because don't they have advertisers and people, sponsors, and people that are going to fund their writing? No, they don't. This is their venture. They're kind of the co-bosses of this venture, and they want to make a reader-supported news source for tabletop. So what they're trying to do is create sustainability and a steady freelance budget to continue writing and continue doing their investigations into different topics and reviews of things, so that they don't have to sell ads, they don't have to sell your data, they don't have to accept sponsorships. They can be no strings attached, basically. So you don't have to question why did you give that such a good review? That's terrible. Like, obviously you got a lot of money. Like, you can't can't piss off your sponsors. So they're saying on the pledge page, or the pledge drive. The pledge drive page, they said, this is a massive gamble, but so far we're extremely pleased with how our audience has already shown up. So to be specific, and they even give you some numbers on this page, they've got a total of 4,100 memberships, and that's both free and paid. So 3,100 are just kind of lurkers that are not paying, but they're reading, and they're fans of these writers. And they've got about 1,050 paying members of all of their different tiers. And this is like an annual payment to support them. And they've already produced a 455 blog posts and announcements. 360 was the number of the single pay article purchases. So you can also buy individual articles. So you'll hit a paywall with some of their articles, and then you can buy that text individually. And it's been 126 days. So just over 4 months since Rascal has launched. So they have their kind of goals that they're looking for, and they'll be running this pledge drive from July 1st until August 3rd. And what that will mean is as they hit these certain levels of support, they'll add more contribution, they'll add more content, and then also be able to fund independent writing for they can hire freelancers. So they'll be able to hire freelancers, and then the rate can go up. They can start attending things like PAX Unplugged and a lot of the conventions to do panels. And and eventually, if they do really, really well, Linda said that she will run a game of Dungeons and Dragons on stream. So go all out. We got to see that. We got to see that happen. Make those journalists, show what they can do. And that's right. And as a kind of a joke, highest goal, like $100,000 goal, Rascal says that they will buy the D&D museum. So do it, cowards. Make them go to Wisconsin and purchase that property away from its current owners. Yes, but and also another kind of level that they want to reach, which is about $2,250 a month, is a podcast. So that will fund a podcast where they'll do the Rascal Radio Hour. So I think this is, I'm sure if you're listening to us, or if you've if you read anything on Tabletop, you've definitely read these writers' work. And if you could get them away from Polygon and some of those other kind of clickbaity beholden to sponsors and kind of subjects that they know will do well, in search engines, get a lot of engagement and a lot of anger going, this would be a good thing to support. So I'll put a link to their pledge drive page. And the last thing they say is, thank you. If you're reading this so far, you must like us, at least a little bit. So we appreciate it, and we are so excited to keep Rascal going as the alternative, independent, roguelike outlet that you appreciate. I'm worried about roguelike. I mean, roguelike, it can die at any time. So the levels of support are, of course, free. You can be a lurker, but $50 a year will give you access to everything. $120 a year, there's some special perks and notifications. And then $900 a year is all in with a lot of extra kind of connection to what they're doing. But I think that's kind of basically like a corporate. That would be a corporate buddy.
You get a booth at their office?
You could, yeah. You could. So Rascal is a tabletop role-playing game and culture outlet striving to sustainably publish voicey journalism that is compelling, deeply reported, and fearlessly honest. We're also a little cheeky. So so check out Rascal News if you haven't already and you're just interested in kind of what's going on. And so far, just looking at the what they've covered so far on the site, it does really seem they're going after their interest as opposed to a list of things an editor gave them that they said, okay, you're reviewing the My Little Pony RPG and make sure you mention Transformers, and there's like much less focus on things that are that would be a concern of, say, shareholders. A lot more independent focus. So not a bad thing.
Yeah. I wonder if they are. Did they say anything about whether they were interested in new submissions?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, they are. They are. They did say, okay. Yeah, submissions. They're open to submissions because they are. Once they reach certain levels, they're going to start, hiring freelancers, and then the better they do, the more they'll pay the freelancers. So yeah, I'll check out their page. I think they have a submission. Submission page. So we may be seeing something by somebody we know.
How much you want to bet they very recently rechecked their mission statement or their code of conduct or whatever? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, is there anything on this that will enrage the internet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really. Yeah, go through. Yeah. That's.
Oh, hey. No. We'll after the sign off, let's talk. Remind me to talk about something about Conan. Related.
Conan related. Okay. We will. Yes. So, a link to that pledge drive that they're doing, and read a few of their articles and kind of, take a look at that content. I think this would be a great thing to keep alive, and a really nice, because so many like comicbook.com and a lot of like video game sites are picking up tabletop news, and they're doing a trash job, of just like, those clickbaity headlines with clerics are getting a change in 5e, and it's a good thing, that kind of stuff, those kind of like really baity articles. That there's not going to be any of that on Rascal. So
so many articles this week about the stupid new you can drink a potion as a bonus action. Oh my God. How do you write a whole article about that? That's so stupid. Sorry.
Yes. Well, maybe they do it that Rolling Stone article style where they talk about like waiting in the lobby and, like how much they had to drink and what drugs they did the night before. And they're waiting to see the guy. And, then they treat each other miserably and go out to some terrible lunch. And then they explain to them that, as a free action, you can drink a potion.
Yeah.
One of those, Rolling Stone era articles. Oh, by the way,
I shot at people with Hunter S. Thompson. You can use the bonus action for your potion drinking.
Wow. Yes. So, so we'll see. But I was happy to see that. Happy to see some people trying to bring some life into what we're talking about, and give us some good sources, and also, things that we can rely on, like more authoritative. Because sometimes, when I've brought up topics on this show from sources and don't have confirmation from multiple people, who knows like what they're trying to do? Like who knows what the motives are for some of these articles? So it will be nice. Some journalistic integrity will be a nice thing to see. All right.
And they need to. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Keep making me think of things. they need to just not react. If they put out an article and there's that minority on the internet that gets super offended, they just need to keep going. I've decided that's the real solution. You just, if you believe in the thing you're doing, just keep doing the thing you're doing. Don't respond. You know what I mean? Because I really think that's what gets these little things, these little organizations destroyed, is they try to defend themselves and fight back, where they should just keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's and I think that's a kind of a stance that just a lot of people that spend a lot of time on social media are really used to, is kind of a knee-jerk reaction to like, defend, what you said or what you believe. And that's gonna just get the pile on going. All right, so that is going to do it for this week. So where can people find you, Matt?
I'm on Instagram and Threads, mostly on Threads. It's at Hargald, HARGALD. I try to talk gaming. I will talk F1 and hockey and things like that. And if you want to know my opinion off camera about the Gen Con thing, I may be talking about that a little bit.
All right.
I'm not a rage monkey, I promise. How about you?
Nice.
Jared?
Well, I will be doing next week. I'll be doing my July live stream for my Abuse Cartoons. Cartoon. So it's going to be kind of the long version where I do everything for the month. So like 9 or 10 cartoons. So a much longer live stream, lots of time to hang around or lots of time to catch it, depending on, where you're living. And so I draw the cartoon, I talk a little bit about what's going on with it, and then eat some snacks from Japanese convenience store. And we usually talk a little bit Japanese culture and kind of fun cultural differences, because it just keeps coming up, and it's such an opposite land here. It's endlessly entertaining. But and you can if you want to read that cartoon, go to gocomics.com/domestic abuse, and you've got about 20 years of that single panel gag cartoon to read. But if you like what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling. So you can do that at patreon.com/upturntable. And of course, Upturned Table is the website where you can find links to everything. So we just recently posted our almost 4-hour review of the Dune RPG, and we'll be doing the actual play. We'll continue the actual play tomorrow. So about this time, you can catch us online, tearing apart the known universe, or I don't know, maybe trying to assassinate an emperor. You never know what could happen. And so that's Upturned Table on all social media. And this live stream is on YouTube and Twitch, but you can also find it in other various places if I can figure out which thing you need to start first before your stream goes live. But we'll try another couple of platforms if we can make it work. But and then also notification on both Facebook and X at the moment, because they made it easy. But anyhow, that is all for this week. So we'll be back again next week. And I want to thank Matt again for flying all the way to Japan to be here in person. It's a rare treat.
It's faster than light, apparently.
Yes. And we'll be back next time. So thanks for watching or listening, and see you again soon.
Bye.
Goodbye. All right. Well, sorry about that. Yeah, there was no music track on our Be Right Back. A silent pause. All right. So what did you want to say about Conan, Matt? What was that?
Okay, so we've kind of discussed this a little bit. We're in the Discord channel
Mhm.
that you and me and Orcus and Nathan are on too. So it's pretty much a prerequisite of new games now to have some uh, either a chapter or part of a chapter where they talk about what do you want to call it, like safety tools,
Oh, like sensitivity, like the disclaimer about the
sensitivity
material. Yeah, yeah.
issues, and disclaimers about the material
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. Which I've been saying on threads that I dream of the day where we can just be cool and
Yeah.
that's enough,
Mm-hmm.
But we're not there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Conan's is literally just a little color insert box that takes up maybe a fifth or sixth of a page.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very succinct and it's not preachy. And I'm like, well, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So because I've seen ones where it seemed like it was this big, long, like multiple parts to it.
Yes,
And like,
yes. Well, I think Dune wasted a little too much real estate with that kind of nonsense. It's like so much stuff that if you don't know this, I mean, it's very unlikely Dune's going to be your first RPG, and if you don't know this already, you've already made so many people uncomfortable at your table that it's just no point. But yeah, that was the weird thing for me, that Dune gave a lot of multiple sections that kept going back to, and make it as diverse as possible. It's like, okay, yes, the known universe, I got it.
The one amusing part of it I did in the Conan one was there was a line about like, if someone in your group is not comfortable with this, or this, then you should alter the game and accommodate them. And that gets back to my feeling that those tools come from a good place, have good intentions. They don't make sense to me when I'm playing with my friends. Like, that really feels like it's something where you're playing with people you for the first time,
Right.
or that you don't know very well,
Mm-hmm.
or you're at a convention and it's like a organized play kind of thing. And I kind of wish they would go to that next level with that and clarify that. But it's either way. Unlike the rest of the internet, I'm not super mad about it. I just I'm trying to pick positives in things. This is my same approach to the Acolyte TV show right now.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to pick the positives, and the positives are, I think they handled it pretty well, and they didn't lose their minds and make it like a multiple page contract or anything. And
yeah,
that's what I'm doing with Acolyte right now. Well, at least the fight choreography is better.
Right. Yeah, they got some younger actors that can, a little more limber. Yeah, so it worked out a little better. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I noticed that too, that it was just a little breakout box in the quick start. So we'll see in the final, we'll see if it gets a chapter though in the final book though. I'm not looking forward to that. But
the problem with that is it's Conan.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like complaining about the unhealthiness of McDonald's food. It's like, why did you come in here? It's like, it's kind of on the label,
Well, and I'd be okay if they said that, like, if they just said, there's a lot of adult themes in this game, and we don't maybe think your 12-year-old should play this, or something like that. I would rather they did that than not. Then people are trying to play Conan, but they're really just trying to do D&D. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's weird. I wonder if some of that just comes from the fact that they're trying to make a book that will, work in every situation. So like looking for a group on Discord or whatever to play with, or some VTT. So you're just in with a bunch of random people. And that's not the, use case for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people have established groups. They're playing with their friends. They like to introduce, new systems or, try something for a change. And the fact that every single book has to do that, I guess it's becoming almost as ubiquitous as what is a role-playing game? That paragraph at the beginning of every book. They're never going to get rid of that. So, I think we're going to have always the safety tool mentioned. But for Conan, they could go really light. They could just say, he was a pen pal and peer of Lovecraft, nuff said. It's what do you expect? What do you think he named his cat? I mean, it's like not going to be there shouldn't be any surprises if you know
this guy blew his brains out because he had a mom fixation.
Right. Yeah. So see if you want to lay that on your kid's head and see what they do with it.
If literally that statement offends you, this game is not for you. That's what they should put in there.
Yeah. But that's it's funny, and it's just like a lot of issues where you just have to kind of step back and say, I don't have any skin in this game. I'm not really involved in it. You can point fingers, whatever, but I don't know what you're talking about. And if you're not going to teach me, then that's where we're at. But I think there's a lot of like younger people that have sensitivities that are just hard to imagine. Hard to kind of really kind of imagine what could possibly set them off, or what could make them uncomfortable enough that they'd want to leave a table or say this was a negative experience. It's harder and harder to predict. So I don't know, that makes it difficult. And so we're gonna have to skip over that page. Yeah. We got it. Yep. We got it. Okay.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, okay, maybe I want two statements to replace that. First one will be just be cool. The second will be know your group,
Right. Like, yeah. Right.
If you did the homework and you really knew the people you're playing with, wouldn't that solve this before you open the book? Like, I mean,
Well, there's so much on a lot of like Reddit and a lot of public places to post where people are asking for advice about running games, but then they're also telling their horror stories. They're telling the nightmare situations, and some of it is just so out of control. I don't know why people let these kind of things happen. Like a vegan player joins the group and then is offended that there's eating of meat in anything, so that they modified, of course, the snacks at the physical event in the real world to not have a bunch of meat flavored barbecue stuff everywhere. And then in the game they also needed to start making corrections about any consumption of meat in the game world where they were playing, and that seems a little too much.
And that feels like a personal responsibility thing that maybe isn't. Maybe that's it. Maybe personal responsibility is just not as big a deal anymore. I don't know. I'm sounding like an old guy right now, because I have gone through just straight fat guy eating phases, vegan phases, keto phases, and when I'm on one of those weird ones like keto or veganism, guess what? When we go to the in real life game, I bring my own shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to put it on anyone else. So I think there's a weird perspective there that, like, if you're this way, the group needs to adjust to you or something.
Yeah. Well, I think I think unfortunately that comes from, marginalized groups and people that, you do need to accommodate. You do need to, be conscious of. You do need to be conscious of how you're talking and things. But, vegans aren't marginalized groups, and people that don't like, a certain monster or whatever, or a certain game mechanic aren't marginalized groups. So why are you making accommodations for these people? Maybe they should be marginalized groups. But no, it's I think that thinking has too many people are trying to include themselves in kind of things that need exceptional treatment, or at least different attentions, and everything is now being folded under that umbrella, unfortunately, I think, in a lot of ways. I don't know.
But the solution is not to get angry in reverse, and that's the problem with the internet. Is it's just
Mm-hmm.
anger coming from both
Mm-hmm.
directions. Like I think this is a Gen X thing. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I'm really more usually on the whatever kind of side of it, and not the rage monkey side
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
it. But
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, though, the economics, of the internet have just become, because I've even heard this. This really made me sad. Like people that I follow their YouTube channels, like journalists and things, and that they even said when we were starting out, we would just troll our own posts on our own videos to get engagement. Like they would literally go in there and start fights because that's how they built their brand. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's
wow.
just like talking, I don't know, just the worst possible. Okay, yeah. Wouldn't it make more sense to try to find a model that didn't involve rage engagement and instead of just saying, yep, this is what we got to work with. So, yeah, get out the ugliness.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was really, really depressing. But that's the state of things, and things tend towards that. And the people that do well, tend towards that. It's almost like this, kind of bizarre Darwinism on lines. The people that are the most successful are the most, reactionary, most abrasive, most unpleasant people, and that's because they can get the views.
Yeah, sometimes it seems like there's levels. Like they reach a certain level
Mm.
of success, and they realize they get to that next level, they need to stir some shit up. Like I don't know.
And I just can't imagine maintaining that, even if you figured that out and you came up with your like little persona that you're going to do, to generate this kind of attention and to be attractive somehow on social media or some platform, and then you're like, okay, now I'm stuck doing this character. I'm stuck writing Winnie the Pooh books for the rest of my life. I'm stuck being Bozo the Clown. It's like, okay. I guess this I didn't think this through completely. I didn't think long term about where this is going to put me. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that's a good point though. I'm glad. I'm curious to try that game. I really I want to see if they can do
Yeah, it's super.
justice to it.
It's super. Like I feel like they're holding back on
Mm.
mechanics,
Hmm.
um, and it almost looks like the inverse of the Outgun Adventure Quick
Hmm.
Start, where that one was all about the traps and exploration, and you didn't get to see the combat part.
Right, right.
This feels like it's maybe the other way around, where it's more about just fighting things
Hmm. Hmm.
and not seeing the rest of the mechanics. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm curious to see what the rest of them are like.
Yeah. Well, I hope Two Little Mice kind of are helping to set a precedent for how to do the crowdfunding because they did a really good job. So engaged and so many live streams and like, really got, people that were supporting them excited. So if they're going to take this to crowdfunding, I hope they do that same sort of thing where they're giving us nice reveals and we're seeing exactly what they're thinking, with this project and not just kind of spring it on us and, just assume the IP and their reputation is enough. Yeah.
Yep, they did a good job.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to get back to that too. Do some more outgunned. Once Alchemy gets everything
Yeah,
ready to go.
yeah. So I answered that question we had on our
Mm.
video.
Hmm.
Is basically what we played in was I made a custom. I think they call them worlds, custom world, but then you can import the various modules. So into that custom world, I imported the outgun one
Hmm.
because the outgun one is made to just run the original outgun quick start
Hmm.
and nothing else.
Mm.
Can't change anything in
Oh,
it.
okay.
So I couldn't just do that
Right.
because I needed to be able to add your guys' character sheets and
Hmm. Hmm.
everything. And
Oh, I see.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to a full version of that. And a lot of the other ones, like they haven't finished the mutant one yet either, which
Oh,
makes me
wow.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if they need to just kind of staff up a little bit and start getting this stuff out, so start getting subscriptions because who's going to subscribe to a bunch of non-finished games unless they've got a 5e player base already that they're monetizing? I don't know.
And there's creative mechanics that are coming out that are kind of gonna mean every time they adopt this new game,
Hmm.
they have to do some programming. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
like the reroll mechanics in Outgun
Mhm.
are not like a push mechanic in Free League
Right.
stuff. It's got to be programmed a little different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so they need to slow down probably.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's true. They've announced a lot of things, and it's not quite clear. Like when stuff goes onto their shop, it's not quite done yet. Or if you get the code, if you supported something on a Kickstarter and you get the code for it, it's like, okay, I have this, but when it's done, I'm sure it'll be really playable. But right now, it ain't. Mm.
Although I think the Dragonbane one's good to go, Jeremy.
Oh,
Hint, hint.
ooh, nice. Okay, all right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, the new campaign, that they released. We got to. Yeah, I would love to try that. Any famous campaign that's been locked away behind the Swedish language from us would be. It would be fun to try. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So Dune tomorrow, and yeah, we'll have to figure out a good. Yeah, if there's a good break point. Maybe if like somebody can't make it one of the weeks or something, we can roll out some quick Conan and see how that works. Yeah, I like the flex the flex die. I'm just thinking of Arnold's documentary. The flex die. So it starts out as a D10, but that's actually the worst because you need to roll a 10 for it to be effective. So the smaller the die, the more effective it is. I think that's a fun mechanic. You get excited about a D. I've never been excited about a D4 in my life, so that'll be interesting.
Like I was saying, the reverse of the Black Sword hack has the Doom die.
Mm-hmm.
You start out, it's a D6,
mm-hmm.
and that one you don't want to roll ones or twos because it degrades.
I see.
So as you advance, if you find a way to raise your Doom die, that's a good thing. So it's just kind of the reverse.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But they both allow you to do extra cool things in play, which I like that too.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, like it was pretty like straightforward, like what you can spend stamina on, what you can spend the flex die on. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's more detail to the combat in the full game. That was another question I had, because right now it's just initiative, attack. It's a zone combat kind of game. It's not tactical, which is fine with me. And attack against a defense stat. You can make some choices in there about how you attack or how you defend, but there's nothing in there about criticals or fumbles or not a lot going on in there, which is fine. But I don't know. For me, in my head, I'm picturing Conan like just throwing people and ripping arms off and
right,
breaking giant things over people's heads. And I don't. I guess I want like stunts or something. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I hope there are some mechanics like that. Yeah, it'll be. I am curious, so we'll see. And they've got lots of minis to support this game, and lots of tiles and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and it's funny too because the board game isn't grids. The board game is zones as well. So yeah. That'll make it pretty compatible. Yeah, I wonder if there was any consideration from, okay, we already have these materials produced. So how should we change anything in the game rules to make it work better with the stuff we're going to make? That would be funny if something like that happened.
They did reuse art from the board game.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. They had a lot of it because they produced. And the thing that I really liked about what they've done is if you support any of those games, occasionally you'll just get a little envelope with some new cards that were reprinted, or just a book that collected some some extra stuff that was released as a PDF. Like you'll get like a physical book printed. It just like stuff shows up in the mail all the way to Japan for games that have supported by them, and they just keep supporting their games. Yeah, we just do this and then we send it off to you because we want you to keep playing our games. And I think that really changes how you think about the company when it's just like the campaign's done. If you got something broken or missing, send an email and that's it. They're just kind of like, we're done with this. Yeah, I like the the attention, that they put into things. So hopefully that'll follow through with the RPG as well, the TTRPG. Yes. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, Calerion, first in. Thank you so much for all the time that you took to write up the kind of premonitions for each of the characters in Dune, the spice visions. That was good, and it was fun that Terry's came up. Terry's been accepting a lot of things that have been forced upon him and his character, but that was fun that that came through. I appreciate the hard work.
It was neat to go back and revisit those and go, yep, checks out. That sounds right.
Right. And now you're going to go try to see that kid again, and he's going to have like webbed fingers and just be floating in a tank and like, oh, what did we do? Couldn't we have just let him be the Mahdi? But oh, that's right, Rings of Power. We've got another season of that coming, don't we? Yikes. And you're not watching, you didn't like the Dragon show. Was it a House of the Dragon? Yeah, you're not watching second season House of the Dragon.
First season, and I was like, no, we're not doing that again.
Right. And then, we're not going to be disappointed like that again.
So and my brother are both like, no, it's so much better this season. And I'm like, fool me once.
Right. I just like that, because that was the thing I enjoyed about the early seasons of Game of Thrones, is the people that were doing an analysis and breakdown. So it started to people that really love the books were going into the kind of the mythos and the lore and everything of the Westeros setting, and it was so fun after each of the shows, because when they were following the books, they had a lot of that stuff they were putting in there in the actual show, and so they were discussion and talking about that. So they're able to do that again with the House of the Dragon, because basically the source material is just like a Wikipedia entry of like what happened, and so they're adding a lot of character moments and relationships and things that were never fleshed out in any of the writing so far. But it analysis of that is really fun. So that's been it's nice to be able to go back and forget about those last 3 seasons of Game of Thrones when things just kind of hurried the hell up. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, we don't have any more book. We're screwed. Yeah, but this is such a different situation, and I think some people are complaining about how they're handling some of the character details and stuff, but overall I think there's a plan, whereas it didn't feel like they had a plan towards the end of the original series. They're just like, George, fax us an outline, please, we need something.
That guy, man.
I know. It's going to be so sad. I wonder, like, if his estate or publisher or something, it's going to be like one of those Wheel of Time things where they're just going to hire someone to finish his books.
Oh yeah. I think I may have said this last time I was on. Like, it's gonna. I feel like we all know it's gonna be Sanderson that finishes the goddamn thing.
Right.
It's hilarious because I don't know a lot about him, but I get the impression he's not going to write it as raw as George R. R. Martin would. Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah. That would be so funny. Yeah. But he's such his own thing now. He's making so much money, like independent of his publishers and stuff. I don't know if he needs anybody anymore. That's great. If he needs to even deal with that.
Yeah, he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
But there would probably be a dump truck full of money.
Yeah. That's true. And if he likes that setting, if he likes that work, it would be, such an honor to be the one to, kind of bring it to completion. Yeah.
That stuff's kind of hitting because, like, Will is a Robert Jordan Wheel of Time fanatic, right? And then somebody after he died, I guess, finished his stuff, and Will hated it.
Oh, really? Oh.
And I hated the Robert Jordan Conan, so it's like
there you go. I don't think I've ever read that. Yeah.
Whenever you bring in an author to finish somebody else's stuff, it's somebody's not going to like it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. This is because you can't ever hit exactly that sensibility. Well, just like with the pastiche Conan stuff that happened like in the 60s or whatever, a lot of the tone of that was, they're just kind of trying to ape a style that wasn't theirs. Yeah. Like Orca says, Matt seems naked without the TV. You're defenseless. There's nothing to protect you.
Trust me, if I was naked, you'd all be blinded by the doughy white light coming through the screen.
Nice. Yes. Yeah, Modiphius Minis. That's right. They're going all in. Yeah. Oh, so speaking of the minis, I was a little worried because Free League had only produced the Tales from the Loop board game minis before. They really hadn't done anything, so I didn't know what the minis would look like for Zone Wars. And they're board game level, but they did that thing like with Dark Tower where they call it Sunspot something. Sundrop. There you go, Sundrop. And it's a little different from the guys that did Nemesis. That treatment. But it is two effects. It's like an ink wash and then a light tone, some kind of, way that they produce they just hit the highlights. They hit the high parts of the models. And it does so much to give you the volume, just if it was just yellow and red and blue plastic, it would look really cheap and really, you wouldn't see the detail at all. And they're not really high detail models, but that treatment I think is a really good idea. I don't know how much expense, how much it adds to the cost, but right out of the box, people aren't going, "Oh, this is so cheap. This is just a cheap piece of plastic." That little bit of attention, both for the Return to Dark Tower and Zone Wars made a really big difference. Yeah, I was surprised. Oh, hey, Carolina, Agent Carolina. Good to see you, and dude. In the chat. Yeah, next week, dude, is the July Abuse Cartoons. I think it'll be, Monday night, Tuesday here?
Somebody was asking for the link, so I put it in the chat.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Wow, you can be a co-host and a mod. That's awesome at the same time. That's what we're going to do. We have to do that for the next Gray Zone, too, if we're going to do super chats and stuff. I'll handle that, and you'll handle the hosting, and we'll keep switching. We'll have to all kinds of technical duties. Nice.
Yeah, we should revisit that idea on the Discord. And
see what they say. That's true. Yeah, because I don't know whose channel's monetized, but yeah, Upstream Table's monetized, so we can definitely enjoy that. And then it might be a nice motivator, to and also, that increases kind of the engagement at the time. And like I was thinking, maybe there were things that we said during the discussion that came up in questions and like the Q&A part that we could then include in the final video, some interesting points and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah, because I always feel like, just from our experience with the first one, there's always I should have said this, or I should have remembered, there's always stuff that just the nervousness of talking and, kind of, staying on topic, there's always details that you forget. Topics.
Which is nice to have, this kind of post thing where something will be said that reminds you, and then,
good. No, that's true.
But more importantly, Jeremy,
yes.
How do you eat your hot dogs? What do you put on them?
Oh, well, my favorite. I mean, if I can get it, my favorite are the Chicago style. I ate those every day in the Loop. Yeah,
my favorite too.
When I went to school, with the pepper and the onions and just everything. The more you can get on there, the better. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So, dude, how are you supposed to eat the sport pepper? Because it almost always still has the stem.
Yeah.
On it.
I always just whatever bite it's in, I'm always like, just pulling the stem off. Yeah. No, but you're right. It is always there.
It's always like this maneuver where I'm pushing it to the end and I'll bite on it.
Right. Yeah, but there's something magical about Chicago, like the coalescence of like Germans and Polish, sausage making that, you gotta have the, there's a funny story about the, one of the big sausage companies in Chicago, were kind of famous for their red color. of their and this kind of snappiness of their sausages. And they set up a new plant. They got more successful and they built a new plant, and they couldn't figure out what happened, because suddenly the sausages didn't have that color anymore. And they, everybody involved in making them, like, they tried everything they could think of to try to recreate exactly what they were getting from their original recipe for their sausages. And it turns out it was the elevator ride. The building, their old building was so small that they had to, before they steam the sausages, they had to put them on an elevator and go down to a different floor, for where they cooked them or whatever. Like, there was a weird lapse in time that was just created by the bad floor plan of the building they were using. And when they built their all-included facility and didn't have any waiting time on an elevator, the sausages didn't turn red. Wow. It took them forever to figure out. So, but Chicago, yeah, pizza. I don't miss so much, but yeah, I definitely miss the hot dogs and sausages in Chicago. Nice.
R.I.P. Abe Froman, the sausage king of Chicago.
Yes.
You know that reference. You're old like me. And
yes, too old. Too old. Mr. Froman, the sausage king of Chicago. Yes. Yes, of course. That's me. Nice. Orcus is saying, this should be a good one. Yeah, I wish they did a DCC for the older ones, not just the Judges Guild ones. Oh, yeah. That's right. Oh, yeah. Does anyone have? Because I saw that they have I don't think Goodman Games is doing them, but they have the reprints. They have reprints of some of the old, Dark Tower and stuff. I saw yeah. So those are just. Do you know? Is that Goodman Games that republished those, or is that just like a Judges Guild? Whatever is left over. That's Goodman Games. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I saw some of those original, they're very they're the original length of the book, so I think they're just reprints of the originals. Nice.
Oh, Orcus got it.
Oh,
Orcus got it.
Nice.
Snotty, snooty, snooty.
Nice. What else is going on? Yeah. Thracian Smoky Sacrifice is Orcus's favorite barbecue sauce. Yeah, their dice colors were so funny. And they went into really, exquisite detail about how they created this amazing the terracotta effect on this die. Will amaze you. Yeah, that's funny. Oh yeah, you watched the most recent series of True Detective, right? The Night Country.
Yeah,
that's
another one. The internet got really offended.
Oh yeah, right. But that was it wasn't that scene, but it was the parade scene, the Donkashane scene that the video was stuck on. Remember the disappearance? And it was still. They went back into that room weeks later, and it was still playing. It was still on the. I was like, okay. Something very supernatural about about that film.
The evil spirit, like John Hughes.
Orcus is gonna go crit awards rage on you, Matt. Don't disparage Goodman Games.
Hell yeah, I'm not disparaging Goodman Games. It's more of I see you, I know what you're up to kind of thing.
Yeah,
you're talking the talk with the old school folks, but you're also paying the bills with the 5e junk.
Right. Yeah, no wonder. Yeah. I'm really curious how much that's going to change. Because you even mentioned a lot of the discussion. It seems like 5e is becoming its own thing, where there's not going to be people moving between. It's you're either in it or you're out. You're doing something else, and it's going to become so much of its own thing that it may not third party. It may not be worth supporting that if that player base shrinks and just becomes this little fixed thing that you then have to deal with WotC for, whatever you're going to make on producing materials for that system again. I'm really curious if that gravy train is over or not. If people are still going to see that as well, we have to do a 5e version. I wouldn't miss those days if people could stop saying that.
Yeah, it seems like it's probably only get harder and harder for the third-party 5e people to get the attention of the people inside that walled garden.
Yeah, and if they do capture a younger crowd that is only going to play digitally, like we talked about younger people that made characters on D&D Beyond, and they don't have the books, they've never rolled dice, they just do it, on a website. If they've got those people captured, then they're not going anywhere, but they're also going to be hard to make. It's going to be hard to make content for that group, I suspect.
Oh, that makes me sad to think about people that have never rolled dice.
I know. Isn't that weird? I've never seen a cow. Yeah, right. Yeah. That kind of stuff is amazing. But you can, it's weird though. You can participate in the hobby and never written anything down on a piece of paper and never rolled dice. You can keep everything so completely digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I don't know, Jeremy. It seems like the TV was pretty popular.
We may have to get you back in the TV, and maybe I'll have to be trapped in some sort of. I'll be in that from the Superman where Zod. I'll be in a plane that's just kind of endlessly rotating with my face on it. The prison that Zod was put in. Yeah. Matt said, well, okay, I guess we broke, when your head cuts off at the top, it does kind of break the reality that you're not actually here sitting next to me.
Every time I lean a little bit forward, my head gets cropped off.
Right. Yeah, I was just curious how it would look at, and it looks, I mean, the color temperature is a little off, but it looks, I think it looks, and this is how people were basically doing things when they couldn't, when pandemic, forced them apart, they could look pretty much in the same place. Nice. We might have to bring the TV back.
Well, I mean, I think I'm going to probably get a camera, so maybe it'll be better.
Cool. And look, Matt can be in the TV anytime we want him. Look at that. Anytime. Well, you just tease it. You can start out, and then the TV can slowly fade away.
Wait. Does my head go over the TV?
Oh, yeah. I haven't sized you. Yeah, I haven't sized your video. Now it just
I'm back in it. No.
It just looked like you were a kid, holding up a cardboard frame with your head sticking over the top.
No. Orcus did make a kind of good point about that Rascal news, is that it's going to be hard for them because there's so many just random free sources to get a lot of that news,
Yeah. And it's really widespread now. I can't believe how many people are talking board games and tabletop that have no authority. It's just like something that got added to someone's list, at their video game.
Random, because the Google algorithm, whatever, will show me like a TTRPG article. It'll be one of those clickbaity ones, like the top 10 post-apocalyptic TTRPGs or whatever, and it's from some guy who's writing it for Wall Street Journal. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I like how Forbes has become such a critic of Disney Star Wars. Like, I keep seeing Forbes articles talking about the Acolyte. It's like, what the hell? What does this have to do about anything? Forbes is really involved in the lore breaking going on in Disney Star Wars. Yeah, it's weird, but it is just because they have the reach, they probably have the kind of SEO and everything in place that they can just plug anything in there that seems to be trending and they can get hits on it. But so that makes Orcus's point is it's going to be really hard to get the attention. They literally have to you have to come in from liking the writing of one of those writers, and then be willing to directly support them, kind of like a what's that blog site that a lot of journalists use now? It's kind of a direct subscription site. It's like a paid blog. I can't think of it. But it's kind of that style. They're doing it themselves instead of using a platform like what is that called? But it is basically a way to just, if you want to read my stuff, please subscribe, and that's what that's what they'll be doing.
Medium?
It's like Medium was first. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's like one of those. Let me see. Let me see. Matt Taibbi has a pretty popular. Let me see if his thing comes up here. Yeah, sorry. He's on.
I just Googled for it, and the top hit was from a Forbes article.
Oh, of course.
What the hell, Forbes?
Of course. Yeah, Matt. Oh, where is it? It's not coming up. That's weird. So it must be hard. What's that?
Is it Wix?
No, it's a it's got an odd name.
WordPress.
No, it's a sorry. It sucks though, because I just searched this journalist that I read his stuff, and he supposedly has he was the one that was given the wiki or the Twitter stuff by Elon Musk, and then had to go in front of the government and defend himself for Substack. Sorry, Substack. There we
Substack.
Go. Yeah. Matt Taibbi is a pretty big journalist on Substack. But yeah, but he that really sucked. And he had a huge falling out because of that, or not really a falling out, just like Elon Musk said, "You are dead to me," because he didn't do what he wanted to with releasing that information.
That sounds like a blessing to me.
Right. Wow. So third page. So his Substack stuff doesn't come up until his third page. I mean, he does. That probably is another. Yeah, that just reinforces the point, though. His Substack doesn't come up. It's all Rolling Stone and stuff he's written for other big platforms before his actual paid stuff comes up. Yeah. So he wrote for Rolling Stone, and that really sucks. Google puts it on the third page. Wow. Yeah, New York Magazine, The Hill. Weird. Yeah, so it is going to be an uphill battle, but you don't need that big an audience is the thing. And the money that they were looking to make is pretty modest, They said like with 2,500 a month, they could support writing and a podcast and hiring freelancers. So that's pretty huge. That's a pretty anybody that's got a name can make that on a Patreon. So yeah, I think they're capable of doing that. Unfortunately, but just like a Patreon, they don't have the discoverability. If you have a Patreon account, when somebody Googles you, that will come up. But when somebody Googles one of these writers, I bet that Rascal doesn't come up in the top results yet. So it's going to be an uphill battle. But we wish them well, because I want some good independent, writing, and not Wall Street Journal telling us.
Thoughtful writing, not just spammy top 10 lists.
Right. 5 games that aren't D&D that you should play. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I just can't believe that tabletop is big enough of a, interest to even attract those larger platforms. It's funny.
It's probably a volume thing. They're just trying to barf out as much stuff as they can.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
Orcus said the Acolyte title card is nice, at least. Very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah, the dialogue, not so much. I don't understand what happened. Why do we suddenly have like a Tumblr fan fiction level of writing? Is it just because that's who they want to pay? Like they know that there are people that are more capable, but they don't want to pay what they deserve, what they would cost. So
I don't know. And some of the dialogue, it's the same problem I had with that Willow show, that That was so bad. Disney has decided it doesn't exist, which is hilarious.
And they can do that if there's no physical release of any of these Star Wars things. That can go away. They can all go away too. So funny.
That was a fantasy show but they wrote the dialogue as if it was a modern like young person speaking, and it just that really took me out of it. I could forgive a lot of stuff, but that really took me out of it. And well, the costume for the woodcutter lady, that was just, they bought at Sears. Right. That pissed me off too. But fantasy denim.
Yeah. What Willow series? Arcus doesn't. It's already left his mind. Yeah. There was no such thing. There was no such thing. Yeah, I wish those books, those sequel novels, could have gotten memory hold too. Do you saw that? Was it Chris Claremont that wrote 3 Willow novels? Yeah,
I never read any of them.
Yeah, with George Lucas. It was like George Lucas put his name on them.
My buddy and our in real life gaming group owns the Willow board game from the 80s.
Whoa!
And about once every 10 years, he'll bring it over so we can play it.
Nice.
It's so bad. It's so broken and goofy.
Right.
But it's fun to play, I guess.
Yeah. If you do, there's a little cardboard magic acorns that you can throw at the trolls.
Like really, really, really cheap art.
Oh, no.
Really cheap art.
Oh, no.
Like, bad.
Oh, that's funny. I imagine it was just like, cutouts of the stills from the movie. But yeah, that's even funnier.
No, it's like someone in the production had their 8-year-old kid draw all the characters or something. It's not good.
Nice. Oh no, help. There's a peck with an acorn pointed at me. Oh, sorry. Give me a second here. Oh. Doorbell rang, of course. Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, Matt. Didn't want to strand you.
I didn't realize you had put up the "Be Right Back."
Oh, yeah, sorry.
So yes, there's like there's a time lag between our Discord and the YouTube. I'm just talking about Willow, and then I see the "Be Right Back." I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, that will be included in the audio version. Nice. Yeah, it looks like. Oh, I hope we haven't frozen yet. It looks like the one version is. Oh no! Yeah, I hope we haven't. Yep, there we go. Yeah, restream. Matt's. I can actually size up the TV. I can make the TV gigantic. Oh, now you can't escape.
My forehead looks huge. Oh my god! Damn these widow peaks.
Nice.
One funny thing about that Willow game is it's a team game, right? There's an evil side and a good side, and. You remember how Mad Mardigan had the love dust or whatever that he used on Sorsha?
Yes. Yeah.
You can do that in the game and get one of the evil players to come over to the good side.
Oh, no way.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, of course I'd have to put that in there. That's too funny. Nice. Yeah. That would be fun. I guess a lot of that stuff is going to be lost to, garage sales and charity shops. But a lot of those really early, IP board games are so funny, especially like the Star Wars stuff and everything. Back when it was just like Candyland and whatever.
Yeah,
they were rough. that was a very cash grab era. Basically I had a template. I'm sure Hasbro still has that template somewhere, but they still have the template just to plug in the board, the movie graphics. Nice. So yeah, anything else I didn't see? It's going to be weird. I wonder, because this streaming thing is going to like collapse in on itself, and we're going to see people buying up this content or not. It just not ever resurfacing again. So we'll see what.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of permanence coming up here. Movies and TV shows could literally just disappear, and if you didn't like snag them on, a torrent site or something, then you're never going to get to see them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is interesting, because it is probably easier than ever to pirate that stuff, and it's harder than ever to convince a company to do a physical release, like a Blu-ray box set or something now, because of the expense, the manufacturing expense. So yeah, very strange. I don't know what's gonna happen with the it probably will be lost to this weird era. Just kind of like early television, like that's why there's I Love Lucy reruns, and a lot of the other, at the stuff produced at the similar time, there's not good enough copies of it to actually even, syndicate it, because of the way they shot that show. It could exist forever, and they owned the originals, whereas a lot of shows produced at that time, just there's no good masters of it, and the quality, I guess, degraded compared to, I forget what that technology was, but whatever Desilu Studios used, they and maybe that's true. That's why Star Trek exists in the state that it does, where you can see that makeup just caked on their faces. The eyeshadow.
Also, I don't think companies are willing to pay, because they can clean shit up, but I don't think they are willing to pay for that. Like, I don't know, over here Seinfeld is on Netflix now, and I put that on my TV, and it looks so bad. It's so grainy, like super grainy, especially the first couple seasons. Like, it just terrible, and I'm pretty sure they could clean that up to some extent, but they're not going to spend money on that, because they don't care about, like, this is it's not like, what was it, Turner Classic Movies kind of thing. They're not trying to preserve anything. They're just trying to make a buck.
Yeah, so whatever state that it's in, that's what they're doing. Yeah, I saw a recent thing. Somebody was analyzing some recent releases. I think they were like, Ultra HD or like 4K Blu-ray of the James Cameron movies, and it was Aliens and I think Terminator 2 that were just recently remastered with AI processing. So they're upscaled from a 2K, from like the original 2K version, upscaled to, 4K Ultra HD. And the AI does crazy stuff where anybody that's in the background out of focus, like their eyes and mouth are like moving around on their faces and stuff. It's terrifying. And shadows. Yeah, there's like a guy smoking in the backseat of a car, and his eye keeps following the smoke. It like keeps his eye like keeps changing with the trail of smoke. Yeah, really bizarre. So, but they said it's just his laziness, like not willing to pay the money and go through the film and save it, save it in a high, like up-res it or whatever they need to do, but also then clean it up, whatever, artifacts or anything bad that would happen. They just let software do it. So, yeah, very lazy.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah, so we'll see. I
saw a little news article the other day that was Ridley Scott already has his next 3 movies planned. And I'm like, Ridley Scott should be planning how he's going to survive the next 3 to 6 years. He's old.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so there's a Gladiator sequel coming out. Is that the next? Yeah, wow. don't think it's going to quite capture because even I don't want to, maybe I'll disparage somebody's favorite film, but that movie is, it's okay. It doesn't stand up as tremendously.
I don't like the gladiators, huh?
No, I like the movie, but as far as like it, I think Hollywood is very fooled by Ridley Scott's British accent, and they think he's making much more complex movies than he's actually making. I mean, it's a pretty simple popcorn movie, and if you look at like his brother's work, like he's not that much more sophisticated than the movies his brother was doing. So yeah, but for some reason that accent has fooled somebody, and they're just like, I don't know. No, but I know I enjoy. It's a popcorn movie though, and it's I think it's elevated a little bit higher than it should be.
No, I agree. I like it. Like I've always enjoyed it, but yeah, it's not like a deep movie, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
some great lines in it, though.
Oh yeah. No, there's good performances, great lines, and really for that time, like and then once they could do digital blood, they just started to copy everything that Gladiator did with all the TV shows and stuff. But yeah, for that time, it got across the kind of goriness of gladiatorial combat.
The opening scene of the Romans.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Battle lines faced off against the German tribes. Oh man, that's like just shoot that in my veins. Make a movie that's just that,
right?
Just Roman legions dying in the woods of Germany. Like the line, his second in that has this line where he's like, "A people should know when they're conquered." Like. I say that in board games all the time, like all the time.
Yes.
But yeah, no,
That's
I mean,
true.
I think if you watch the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven, that's a much more complex movie, and I really like that. The director's cut of that. Don't watch the normal cut; it doesn't make anywhere near as much sense. The long was it like I think it's like 3.5 hours or something.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's Ridley Scott likes his director's cuts. He's the opposite of Denis Villeneuve, who never wants to do a director's cut.
Yeah, and like cut stuff, like stuff that hits the cutting room floor is gone forever. That's amazing. Yeah. We're not going to see it back. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I just think he's fooled somebody after he did, Blade Runner and a few other movies, and he's like, "Oh, actually, did I tell you I'm a master historian? So in any of the classics, you guys come to me, and I'll give you the film version you need." I mean, so when you're talking about what's his face doing a Napoleon movie, Kubrick doing a Napoleon movie, and Ridley Scott doing a Napoleon movie. Yeah, it's very different.
Didn't Kubrick just spend years just assembling his notes for that movie?
Yep, and just abandon it. Yeah, so but yeah, those two, those I don't like the fact that people are kind of maybe it's just like the internet or YouTube that is doing this, but putting them kind of at the same level. I'm like, oh no, let's not even, let's not even do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Although, in the asshole parade, I think Kubrick wins.
Yeah, okay, that's true. That's true. Yeah, what he did to Shelley Duvall alone, I think, is worthy of that. Yeah, I just mean as like auteur.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of the great directors are assholes.
Right. Yeah, and that used to be like what you had to do to get the shot. You had to scare the hell, threaten the children of the actor so that they got to that place.
So what's Michael Bay's excuse then? Because he's an asshole and he makes shitty movies.
Right. Yeah, I love the reviews when the Transformers movies were coming out hot and heavy, and people were saying, and I saw this movie and I don't remember anything about it. Like the moment I left the movie theater, it's just gone. So it's all this like chaos, and something happened and there was a story, but I don't know what that story was, and I can't recall any of it.
All I remember is wall.
Right. Orcus is taken off.
Yeah,
All right. Nice. Yes. Oh yeah, I read his mind. We're both talking about AI. That's going to be a shame if we do, because people won't know, and that will be maybe one of the last physical copies made of certain films. Before they give up on physical media altogether, it will be an AI upscaled version of. That'll be really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's a real eerie quality to that stuff. Just the same as any AI video. It has a weird shimmer to it. But wow.
Yeah, and there's it's all right around the corner. Like, it's only a matter of time before someone who's good with the AI stuff is like, what if the singing in the rain scene is we do it, but now it's Jake Paul instead of what's his name?
Right.
Bullshit like that.
Oh yeah. I think that's coming, and it's going to be weird to see because people already lowered the requirements for what entertains them, reality television, and then YouTube, and now watching streaming and things. The level of production, the level of work that goes into something is so much lower than it used to be. And so what are people going to accept for visuals that, how low will AI be able to go, and people will still say, yeah, I kind of believe that's a thing. It's kind of video. It's mostly, computer generated animation, but it kind of uses visuals that look semi-photorealistic. Yeah, it's going to be strange to see how low your expectations can actually go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see.
It's funny. I've been watching that Alan Tudyk show, The Resident Alien.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it with my wife. It's actually, I'm really enjoying it. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but I'm enjoying it because it's kind of whimsical and it has some funny semi-dark humor stuff going on. But they were clearly on a budget, right?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be in Colorado, but they've shot it in Vancouver, which is what you do. But there's a lot of scenes, especially in the first season, where he's supposed to be out on a big glacier surrounded by mountains because he's looking for his lost ship. But it's a long story. But anyway, it's clearly done with some kind of backdrop, like some kind of green screeny backdrop. And that part really does not look good.
Oh, yeah.
It bugged me, but I'm enjoying the show, so I'm just letting it slide,
Wow. So what's it on? Who produced it? Is it FX or something, or Sci-Fi Channel?
It was, I think, originally Sci-Fi Channel.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 seasons are on Netflix. The 4th season got picked up by somebody else.
Oh, okay.
So the 4th season is going to be somewhere else. But right now we're watching on Netflix.
Okay.
So we burned through the first season. We're on the 2nd season. It's pretty fun. I mean, it's fun because it's tongue in cheek and it's got some kind of Spielbergian feel in some parts, and kind of kids on bike stuff going on. But it also has Alan Tudyk as this alien who literally was sent to kill all humans, and he's straight up honest about it, which is hilarious. And his arch nemesis ends up being this 10-year-old kid, and you can see him because he's disguised as a human, but the kid has a genetic thing, so he can see him. And so he's sitting across from each other at a diner, and they're just telling each other how they're gonna kill each other and stuff. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's a fun premise. Yeah. That sounds good. Yeah, I keep seeing articles about it, so yeah, people must be it's generated some interest. And I think when things get saved, when things get rescued, they were going to be canceled but get another season, I think that generates a lot of headlines too. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Oh, did you read, so speaking of the continuing things, the Dune, so did you read that thing I put in the group chat about doing kind of permanent supporting characters? Because I was worried that you guys are gonna the advancement points are gonna get so plentiful that it's gonna be hard to I can't be any more wonderful, and it doesn't have it not quite fit the level of the characters. But I thought having kind of a permanent support character that you could also then level up is because then you could specialize differently. Yeah, might work.
Well, that was perfect. That's perfect because that's exactly what I was thinking after the last game session was. Oh well, because when I was thinking about, I think I said something along the lines of there'll be situations where I can Jack can send his wife Liara. I was actually thinking of like as if I was playing Liara, not so much doing the asset remote thing.
Right.
So that was exactly kind of what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, we'll have to see what we can come up with for Will.
And I think it would be fun too to like just really go all in and like I'll play Liara like she still has, you know, a loyalty to Atreides and you know, like so she has other agendas, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be really fun. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And she's got some Mentat training, so there'll be some fun stuff that you can do, that you wouldn't be able to with other characters. Yeah, cool. Okay, so we'll talk about that then on the stream then, and kind of get everyone's character established, and then we can you can have decisions, so you can keep it at the agent level but using a different agent, but then you can also do the kind of architect thing, or combinations of things. I think that'll work well. Cool. All right. Well, I think that will do it. So catch us on Dune, on the Dune actual play tomorrow. And thank you everybody. So all the patrons and members, and check out the Dune review. It's free outside of Patreon. Patreon can handle big audio files. It just can't handle big video files. So and there's a link to that in the YouTube as well, in the community tab. And thanks so much for joining us, and we'll do this again. And Matt, thank you for coming without your TV, although we had to put it back on you because people were getting confused. They thought you were here. They didn't know why we never looked at each other.
It was getting all NC-17 without my TV.
Too real. Just a couple of guys in shirts in a room sweating it out. Yeah. It looks better.
We color coordinated.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It was perfect. All right. So thanks for joining us, and we'll be back again next time.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.